Hello, my name is Philippa and I'm from the Do Me Music department based within social impact and engagement. Whilst we're all on lockdown, for some of us, this is the perfect opportunity to really knuckle down with practice and put in the hours on the instrument, no excuses. However, not everyone is able to practice their instrument at the current time. You might live in shared accommodation, perhaps you left your instrument somewhere else before the lockdown and you can't access it. You might play larger instruments that are just not practical to keep at home. A really useful technique to have a go at is mental imagery, also known as motor imagery. Mental imagery is used alongside practical playing by a number of musicians and is a really excellent way to keep up your practice and cognitive skills. It's used as a complement to real-life playing, often by those who might not be able to practice or just alongside their regular training, but it's a great way to avoid any overworking and any risk of injury. It's a really invaluable tool, particularly as your brain wouldn't get injured in the same way that perhaps your muscles do if you're playing too much or overworking. Imagery is used across a number of other disciplines as well. For example, athletes also use imagery as a complement to their training, allowing them to train in their mind even when their muscles are tired from practice. There's lots of research into how mental imagery works, some of which can be quite technical and scientific. This can be a little heavy going, especially for someone like me who is definitely a humanities person through and through. However, in basic terms, when it's done properly, mental imagery enables your brain to keep practicing the neurological signals which you would normally use to instruct your muscles to play. This actually allows you to keep learning your music and improves your ability when you next come to play in real time. So what does mental imagery involve and how do you do it? The good news is you don't really need anything to do this, just yourself and a quiet space. Mental imagery is a lot more than just picturing yourself playing or performing. Imagery in this sense is a very immersive experience and is all about visualizing and really imagining and feeling yourself playing without actually doing it. For example, I can mentally picture myself playing the piano, that's easy, but to use imagery, I need to focus on the physical sensations that I would normally feel when I'm playing. I can mentally go through a piece and play it in my head whilst also feeling my fingers on the keys, imagining the weight that I would use for touching the keys, sensing how I use the pedal, how my body feels whilst I'm playing. I can also hear the piece in my mind. So I'm rehearsing the piece as I would in real life, just in my brain. No actual playing is going on. You know that you're doing it and you're truly immersed when you can almost feel like a bit of a sensation in the area of your body that you're focusing on, for example, the fingertips, the hands, the wrists, your arms, and so forth. It takes time to get to grips with this, especially if you're new to it, but once you get the hang of it, this is a really valuable way to practice. Imagery is very immersive, and so make sure you allow yourself to give that level of focus and concentration, but then set an end time so your brain can let that settle and digest it, as you would with normal practice. You might do this with sheet music in front of you. Find a place that you're comfortable and not going to be disturbed, and as you read through the music, practice your imagery. Play it through in your mind as you would in real life. Imagine what it feels like, what's your body doing, focusing on those areas that you would engage and just mentally rehearse through it. You also might be able to hear it in your mind. You can also do it with your eyes closed. Perhaps you know a piece really well, or perhaps you're practicing a small exercise or scale that you don't really need your music for. Imagery is also really helpful for increasing confidence in playing. For example, engaging in positive imagery really helps you to feel good when you go through the piece and there are no errors, or perhaps you just feel a little less pressure going through it in your mind without fear of judgment. What's important, however, is that this is really felt by you and makes sense to you. For example, I might imagine myself playing an insane concerto like the best piano player in the world at the Royal Albert Hall. However, unfortunately, this is at the moment a little unrealistic. In order for you to feel these benefits, you've really got to be doing your imagery as realistic as possible. So rehearsing the piece at the same speed, putting in the same detail, and really making sure it makes sense to you. So I hope this has been interesting and hopefully introduced you to a new technique that you can try whilst we're all at home. And it's actually something, if you get to grips with it, it's great to take forward in your practicing long term. So I hope this is helpful. If you would like to read any more about the use of imagery by musicians and other studies, there are a couple of links just in the short description below. One entry on a website called Bulletproof Musician, and a couple of more in-depth studies as well. So give it a go if you can, and you might be surprised at the benefits. Thanks for listening and stay safe.